Hey guys, today we're going to be discussing a very serious topic. Very, very serious topic. Something that impacts the entire UFC and the future of it. I have some news to share with you. A theory that I have, and this is all alleged, so I cannot get sued, please. Dana White and Jon Jones are in a homosexual relationship, and I have much evidence to back this, as seen in today's UFC 303 press conference on June 28th. What's the date? 30th? What the fuck? Why did I think it was the 28th? On June 30th. Today. Earlier. Around 11 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Dana White revealed some information that may prove him to be a homosexual and may prove his partner either butt buddies or coke buddies. I don't know. It's one or the other. Today, Dana White at the press conference was just babbling, bro. It was asked if Alex Pereira is the GOAT, if he can become a 3-division champion. And of course, he calls Jon Jones the GOAT. And he starts arguing with a reporter who talks about the inactivity of Jon Jones. This reporter, salute to you. I thought that all the good reporters were banned. He talked about what everyone was asking. This dude, he's probably never going to be invited to an event again to ask questions because Dana White did not have a good argument for this. So the reporter brought up that Jon Jones is still champion and still considered the GOAT by Dana White, greatest of all time, even though he hasn't fought in basically 4 years. Yeah, once a year ago. He is not an active fighter, and Dana White was calling him an active fighter. So he was saying, Dana White defended Jon Jones, and he said, he was out on injury. Other fighters have been cut because they were out on injury. Other fights have had this belt stripped from them because they were out on injury. Why is Jon Jones different? Just because him and his dog are the GOATs of the sport, according to Dana White, does not mean he should not be stripped. Tom Aspinall should be the rightful champion. He is the champion of the UFC heavyweight division. I think he would beat Jon Jones, and whether he would or not, at least reunify the belt. Unify the belt. I don't know, I said reunify. At least, maybe reunify. Okay, at least unify the belt. He's the interim champion, so why is Jon Jones fighting Stipe Miocic? Dang my pronunciation today. It's all good. Why is Jon Jones not fighting Tom Aspinall? They're both bad men, according to Dana White. Why is Dana White putting down everyone in favor of Jon Jones? What does Jon Jones have on him? Did Jon Jones fuck Dana White? I think the answer is yes. He defends Jon Jones with all the passion in his heart. Dude, you know, the one fighter he's talked about the most in the past 5 months, Jon Jones. He's always talking about him. Bro, that dick must have been so good for him, I guess. He must have loved it. Because ain't no way. He just keeps blabbing about Jon Jones. And it makes no sense. And everyone knows it makes no sense. But according to Dana White, he's the baddest man on the planet. Doesn't even have to fight the baddest man on the planet to prove it. He's already proved it, apparently. I don't get it. Jon Jones versus Tom Aspinall would be such a big fight. Part of me is thinking that they're going to book Tom Aspinall versus Jon Jones. And I'm thinking that they're going to book it and they're just saying that they're not going to stir drama so that everyone wants the fight happening. So that when they announce the fight, or when Dana White suddenly has a change of heart, when they have a change of heart, then everyone will buy the pay-per-view. Speaking of buying the pay-per-view, I think that the UFC may have done something scummy. Again, this is alleged. This is my personal theory. This is not something I know that happened. I do not want to get sued. Please don't sue me. I have like 4 active viewers, man. And one of them's my dad. And I'm pretty sure the other 3 are Russian bots. So, I think that the UFC knew that Brian Ortega would be out. He did not look good at weigh-ins. And Dan Ige apparently just comes out of nowhere and weighs in. I think that they knew, but they knew Dan Ige coming in would be a big hit to the card. I just see no way where Ortega last minute actually pulls out. If that is the case, either he's a bitch or whoever made that decision just nearly ruined the card. At least severely downgraded the card. Because that was a huge hype fight. That was probably the most hype fight. Well, it was the co-main. It was the most hype fight right after Pereira versus Prohaska. I'm blanking on names right now. It was a huge fight, and I think that the UFC knew if they announced that Ortega was out, they would take a huge hit in revenue. Not as many people would buy the pay-per-view, or people would ask for a refund. So they waited till the last minute so that they could get everyone on board, already having watched all the prelims and already being on the main card. As close as possible as they can without being accused of, without being in the wrong. And I think that they knew this. And they abused it. Allegedly. It's my opinion. It's not facts. It's a theory. So take it with a grain of salt. But I think that they did this in order to make more revenue and to keep the gate that they had. And I think that if they did that, that's really shitty and scummy. So, back onto Dana White being homo for Jon Jones. He just talks about his dog. He talks about him. He talks about how great he is all the time. So, it's pretty fishy that something's up. I think everyone knows Dana White's a billionaire. He seems coked up. I think most people believe that Dana White takes coke. So, maybe him and Jon Jones, they were doing some drugs because, as you know, Jon Jones is a drug user. And Dana White's a rich man, a rich white man. That's who does cocaine. So they were doing some cocaine, and one thing led to another. Maybe Jon Jones said, "Hey, you want to do a line off my butthole?" And then Dana White said, I don't know, man. Sure. Thinking, wow, he'll beat my ass if I say no. Line off his butthole, and now either Jon Jones has dirt on him, or that one thing and another led to another, and they ended up having sex. And I think that Dana White and Jon Jones may be in a homosexual relationship. Jon Jones is very obviously not completely straight. We all saw him in the nightclub. We all saw him whining to the police. We have seen his homo moments, and there's nothing wrong with that. I am proud for Dana White and Jon Jones for this, and I hope they come out with it, because more power to them. So, not only was he arguing with the reporter, but later on in the press conference, as always, he randomly decides to bring Jones in a conversation. I think it was asked, I don't even know what was asked, but he brought him in a completely irrelevant example and was just yapping about how Jon Jones deserved a fight with Chael Sonnen and that it's unfair that the fight got canceled. Dude, you cannot make this up. Dana White fell off, man. He used to be the best matchmaker. But now that the documentary came out and everyone's thinking, oh, Hunter is, what is Dana White doing? All he does is rides on Jon Jones' penis. Nowadays, Dana just needs to get his shit in check and either come out as homosexual with Jon Jones, that they're in a gay relationship, or drop it and move back on to running the UFC. Because, dude, this isn't your relationship, man. Everything doesn't revolve around Jon Jones. I get you're in the honeymoon phase, but God damn. It's really annoying. And I'm just tired of fights not being made just because of Jon Jones. I think it's pretty obvious that Dana White doesn't want Pereira to move up because of Jon Jones. And one thing, I do think that Pereira should fight Ankalaev, but once he does that and once he wins and knocks him out while shooting, or submits him, Pereira submission. He's a black belt, man. I'm telling you, he got that dog in him. Once he wins via finish, I think that he moves up and he fights Jon Jones or Tom Aspinall. Either of those would be great fights to make. Maybe even Derek Lewis. I don't know. That's a really random fight. I think he should fight Tom Aspinall or Jon Jones. And I'm leaning on Jon Jones. Because I do think Jon Jones is really good. And that's a very interesting matchup. Before Jon Jones versus Pereira, I think it should be Jon Jones versus Aspinall. But that's not happening. When Pereira fights him, I think Pereira is going to win by knockout, becoming the first three belt world champion, not including Triple C. 3 actual UFC belt world champion, and he'll become the GOAT. And Jon Jones will be stuck on Twitter arguing with people about, Pereira never beat me in my prime. Pereira never went against some people I went against, and just crying and crying. And I also think that Jamal Hill is going to be crying along with Jones. So, that's just my take. I think it's pretty obvious what's happening, and I hope that Jon Jones and Dana White learn to come out. I get it's hard as a billionaire to come out as gay, but we live in 2024. There's nothing wrong with it, man. So, more power to you guys. More power to you, Jon Jones. More power to you, Dana White. Good luck in your relationship. Just don't let it impact the UFC. Thank you. Goodbye.